Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
European leaders have met in Paris for an emergency summit on Ukraine. The impromptu meeting, called on Sunday night by French President Emmanuel Macron, includes representatives from Germany, Italy, Poland, Spain and Denmark, plus a representative from the EU Council. Notably absent from the group is the US, whose officials will instead be 2 time zones removed in Saudi Arabia, preparing for a meeting with a Russian delegation on Tuesday. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says there's no role for Europe in any peace talks. Meanwhile, the UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer says Europe must step up its defence capabilities to face the generational security challenge posed by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It comes after Sir Keir said he was ready and willing to put UK troops on the ground in Ukraine to help guarantee its safety after a future peace deal.
The position, as I see it, is this. We're facing a generational challenge when it comes to national security. Obviously, the immediate question is the future of Ukraine, and we must continue to put Ukraine in the strongest possible position, whatever happens next, and to make sure that if there is peace, and we all want peace, that it is lasting. I think there's a bigger piece here as well, which is that this isn't just about the front line in Ukraine, it's the front line of Europe and of the United Kingdom. It's about our national security.
At least 10 people have died as torrential downpours over the weekend drenched parts of the southeastern US, submerging roads and houses. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said 9 people have died in his state after making an emergency disaster declaration. About 1,000 people stranded in floodwaters had to be rescued, he said on Sunday. The same areas could now be affected by drier but colder conditions and the risk of snow, ice and significant disruption. The US State Department has dropped a statement from its website which stated that Washington does not support Taiwan's independence, a move which has sparked anger in China. China said the revision sends a wrong signal to separatist forces advocating for Taiwanese independence and asked the US to correct its mistakes. The department's fact sheet on Taiwan-US relations earlier included the phrase, "We do not support Taiwan independence." This was removed last week as part of what it said was a routine update. A US spokesperson was quoted as saying that it remains committed to the One China policy, where the US recognises and has formal ties with China rather than Taiwan. Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have entered Bukavu, the second largest city in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, seizing the regional governor's office. Some people lined the streets to clap and cheer the fighters as they marched and drove into the city centre without resistance. It is the second city after Goma to fall to the rebels in the mineral-rich region in the past few weeks. The Congolese government has acknowledged its fall and urged residents to stay at home to avoid being targeted by the occupying forces. The UN and European countries have warned that the latest offensive, which has seen hundreds of thousands of people forced from their homes, could spark a wider regional war. Pope Francis is being treated for a complex clinical situation and will remain in hospital for as long as necessary, the Vatican has said. The 88-year-old was admitted to Rome's Gemelli Hospital on Friday to undergo treatment and tests for bronchitis. In an update on Monday, the Vatican said the pontiff has a polymicrobial infection of his respiratory tract, which has required a change in his treatment. Before his admission last week, the Pope had bronchitis symptoms for several days and had delegated officials to read prepared speeches at events.
Never have I felt the excitement and energy. We've had great racing on the track, but we've got the president.
And President Trump has driven around the Daytona racetrack in the opening event of the season's NASCAR series. Trump's Air Force One jet gave a flyby for spectators before he met the drivers on the track with his granddaughter and then led them for a lap around the circuit. It's the 3rd time overall in history that a sitting president has made it to the biggest day in the racing calendar.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.